Who would replace the Big Six in the Premier League? Think about the Premier League for a second. When we talk about the Big Six, the same names always come up. Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Tottenham. They dominate the headlines, they dominate the trophies, and they dominate the money. But here's the thing. Football is never static. What if those clubs didn't exist? What if the so-called Big Six disappeared tomorrow? Who would rise to take their place? Today, we're going to imagine a brand new hierarchy. A new Big Six made up of the Premier League's sleeping giants, its ambitious challengers, and its dark horses. These are the clubs with the history, the fan power, and the momentum to carry the league forward in a world without the traditional elites. And by the end of this video, you might just find yourself questioning whether the Big Six we know today even deserve to be at the top anymore. The Premier League has always been defined by its giants, but the truth is, English football has so much more depth than just 6 clubs. Beneath the shadow of United, City, Arsenal, and the rest, there are teams with incredible histories, European trophies, massive fan bases, and new financial firepower. Some are sleeping giants, some are already on the rise, and some are desperate to reclaim their place at the table. So let's reimagine the Premier League together. Let's uncover the 6 clubs outside of the traditional elite that could form a brand new Big Six. Our journey begins in the Northeast at St. James Park. Newcastle United have always been known as a sleeping giant. For decades, their loyal fans packed the stands, even when the club was nowhere near silverware. But now, everything has changed. Backed by new ownership, Newcastle have the resources to compete with anyone.
Ticking up to 45. Trippier with drift. In goes Burn! It's the boy from Blythe! A Wembley goal for the first time in a Geordie generation!
In just a short time, they've gone from mid-table mediocrity to Champions League nights, and the Geordie faithful finally have hope of trophies returning to Tyneside. With a stadium that feels like a fortress and a city that lives and breathes football, Newcastle look like the club most ready to break into the upper tier permanently. Next, we move to Birmingham and one of the most historic names in English football, Aston Villa. This is a club with a European Cup in its history, a club that has produced legends, and a fan base that has stood by them through thick and thin. Under Unai Emery, Villa have been transformed into a side capable of competing with anyone. They're back in Europe, playing football with confidence and ambition, and with strong owners backing the project, Villa Park is buzzing again. In many ways, Aston Villa don't just want to be part of the conversation, they believe they belong in it. In London, another contender is making their case. West Ham United are not just a club, they're a culture. The Hammers boast one of the most passionate fan bases in England, and their modern home at the London Stadium gives them the capacity to match the biggest. For years, West Ham felt like they were always on the brink, but rarely delivering. That changed in 2023 when they lifted the Europa Conference League, their first major trophy in decades. It wasn't just a cup, it was proof that West Ham could achieve something tangible. If they can build on that momentum, West Ham could cement themselves as one of the league's most important forces. Now, let's talk about a very different kind of giant. Brighton and Hove Albion may not have the history of Villa or Everton, but what they do have is one of the smartest football operations in Europe. Their recruitment model is admired worldwide. They discover stars before the rest of the footballing world even knows their names, and when they sell, they reinvest intelligently. In 2023, Brighton reached Europe for the first time in their history, a remarkable achievement for a club of their size. Their style of play is modern, bold, and admired by neutrals everywhere. Brighton proved that in the Premier League, brains can beat budgets, at least some of the time. The question is, can they sustain it? Leicester City. Of course, no discussion of a new Big Six would be complete without Leicester City, the club that gave us the greatest underdog story in modern football history. The 2015-16 Premier League title win wasn't just a fluke. Leicester followed it up with consistent European runs and an FA Cup triumph in 2021. Yes, relegation in 2023 was a setback, but Leicester showed the world that the monopoly at the top could be broken. Their fairy tale changed the perception of what's possible in English football, and for that alone, Leicester have earned their place in this conversation. And then there's Everton, a club that has been through turmoil in recent years, but whose history cannot be ignored. 9-time league champions, 5-time FA Cup winners, and a name synonymous with English football tradition. Everton's struggles with relegation battles and finances have overshadowed their legacy, but their massive fan base and new stadium project on the horizon show that they are still a sleeping powerhouse. If they can stabilize on the pitch, Everton could once again be one of the defining clubs of the Premier League era. Honourable mentions. Of course, some names just miss out. Leeds United, with their huge global following, are never far from the spotlight. Wolves, backed by ambitious owners, have flirted with European football. And Nottingham Forest, 2-time European champions, continue to rebuild their legacy in the modern game. Each has a case, but the 6 we've highlighted stand just a little taller in this moment. So there you have it. The Premier League without its traditional Big Six would still have its giants, just a different kind. Newcastle, Aston Villa, West Ham, Brighton, Leicester, and Everton, 6 clubs with history, ambition, and fans that make them impossible to ignore. But what do you think? Did I get it right? Or should Leeds, Wolves, or Forest have made the cut? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more football deep dives. Because in football, history is written by those who dare to believe, and maybe, just maybe, the next Big Six is already among us.